So some exciting news. I'm not sure how many people have read Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone, but if you have, and I recently read it and I really, really enjoyed it. It's probably, right now it's in the running for, it's in my top 10 of the year for sure. And I know it's early, but it was that good. But the sequel is coming out today, and the sequel is Everyone on This Train is a Suspect. So this is, you could read this if you haven't read Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone. It's just, there's one recurring character who's like the protagonist, the main character and narrator. There's a few hints of what has happened in the first book, but you could easily read this and then go back and read the first one. I had read the first one because I had this arc and I wanted to make sure I'd read it just in case. But so this is a tough one because I absolutely loved Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone. It was one of the smartest mysteries I've ever read. It's like one of my favorites. So while it was a 5-star, this is also a 5-star, but it's a lesser 5-star for me, and that's partially just because that one was so good. So I do want to say that, though, because if you're a huge fan, there is possibly room for disappointment, but I don't think it'll be like, wow, this was terrible kind of disappointment. It just may not be, at that same level. Or you might like it more because, so for me, Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone kind of mirrors And Then There Were None. Like, he definitely is going for, like, that golden age mystery style. And in particular, reminds me a lot of And Then There Were None. This one, obviously, is more of a Murder on the Orient Express kind of approach. And I didn't like that book as much as I like And Then There Were None. So that could also be a me thing. So that said, so I'm going to kind of go through what I like, didn't like, just the overview of what the book is, but just to let you know it's out. So let me read you the summary. From the best-selling author of Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone, a fiendishly fun locked room train murder mystery that offers a tip of the hat to the great Agatha Christie novel, while at the same time being a modern reinvention of it. And that was from Nita Prose. Perfect for fans of Richard Osman and Anthony Horowitz. When the Australian Mystery Writers Society invited me to their crime writing festival aboard the Gann, the famous train between Darwin and Adelaide, I was hoping for some inspiration for my second book. Fiction this time. I needed a break from real people killing each other. Obviously, that didn't pan out. The program is a who's who of crime writing royalty. The debut writer, me. The forensic science writer. The blockbuster writer. The legal thriller writer. The literary writer. And the psychological suspense writer. But when one of us is murdered, the remaining authors quickly turn into 5 detectives. Together, we should know how to solve a crime. Of course, we should also know how to commit one. How can you find a killer when all the suspects know how to get away with murder? So I'm going to say the things I liked. I liked this one. Obviously, I liked that it was like completely different from the other one. That it totally new characters. You have a little bit of like tiny crossover, but it's, again, you wouldn't have had to read the first one to get those things. There's like a character reappears, a couple of characters reappear in like sideways, like little side pieces, but nothing that affects the plot. So I liked that. I liked that this one, in terms of a mystery, I thought this was a lot trickier than the first one. I called the first one about, like, I don't even know, it was like early into the book. And it's okay, because it still was well done. This one, I had no idea. There were a couple things I did figure out, but there's actually in this one, there's the murder mystery, but there's multiple other mysteries. And so I called a couple of those, I just didn't call this one. So some side, because of the side mysteries, I don't know, maybe I was like distracted, focusing my energy on the wrong things. I really liked the setting, because I didn't know even that the Gann existed. Now I'm super into it, but I am not rich enough to go on it, but it's this really cool train through the outback, and that sounds really cool. I would like to try that, but, when money falls from the sky, maybe I'll go on that. I also liked, this one was still funny, but it had like some very, very dark themes. Not that murder isn't a dark theme, but this dealt a little bit with like some other stuff that I thought was handled very well, rather than just being like a plot device. You know, sometimes it's a plot device and it just feels kind of like crappy when people use it as a plot device. I thought this did a good job of using it, and actually using it in a way that I think is meaningful in today's sort of society. I also thought there was a lot of really fun stuff about writing in general, about publishing, you know, some definitely snarky commentary about the disaster that is the publishing industry, you know, and, you know, as a writer, from like the writer perspective. So I liked a lot of that stuff. So the things I didn't like, and again, this is a 5-star read, so it's there are minimal things I didn't like. I did think in some places it was a little convoluted. There was a lot going on, and some of it was a little melodramatic, but it works for the genre, so you can get away with it. I wish it had been a little bit funnier, but at the same time, I think they had the right balance, because I do think there was some darker stuff here. So, you know, if he was constantly making snarky comments for some of these things, it would have come across as like really callous. So I think it actually worked. I didn't get the same like haha, like sort of feeling that I was getting off the first one. Another thing I did like is this, even though it has like different rules, it has the rules. So this is kind of like the Scream books of mystery novels. And so I like that. I like how it has the rules, and he keeps pointing them out, and he keeps reminding you of things. He's got a lot of witty things. Again, I think it worked a little bit better in the first one, but there was just more going on in this plot that I just think he couldn't be doing too many of those things. And then that was probably it. I really liked the characters. I thought they were, he does a good job of making them sort of tropey, but also, like, individuals. So, I mean, there are definitely some tropes there, but he kind of plays with it a little bit, but then he also, like, does, like, kind of fan service to people who like this style of book. So, I'm curious to see which Agatha Christie or famous mystery he's going to tackle next, because it's not like a retelling, it's just a different approach to like pretty classic mystery stories. So anyway, I really liked it. It's out today. You should definitely check it out. And I'm just really looking forward to it. I think he has another series as well. Benjamin Stevenson does. It's not obviously the same characters. So I'm going to try to track those down at some point and see if I can read those as well, because I really like his like overall writing. And he does a good job. This is something that the very few people do, I think. He has a very tightly wound mystery. And I feel like a lot of mysteries, I let a lot of stuff go as a reader just because, you know, I know it's a really complicated, like, industry, and it can be, like, a really complicated genre to write. And in both of his, I've found them, like, I feel like he puts a lot of work into them. And not that other writers don't put work in, but I do feel like sometimes you can see when, like, maybe editors aren't as involved, or, you know, people just kind of go, it'll sell, so they just throw it out there, and they don't care if it gets, like, fine-tuned to the point where, you know, and hopefully, like, that won't happen to him by books 5 and 6, because I feel like that's what ends up happening to a lot of writers as they get popular enough. Like, editors and everybody kind of takes a nap on their, like, what made them good in the first place. So hopefully that won't happen, because they're very tight. And so, like, I hope it's because he's just very strategic in his writing. But if not, I hope his editor stays on him, you know, to get all of these, like, to ask all the questions and make sure all of the threads tie up nicely. So, I definitely recommend everyone in my family has killed someone. And, I will be back at some point. Bye.